Welcome back to episode 4 of our Planet Coaster 2 water park, Wyandot Lake. Once again, we have a little bit of a shorter episode for you all. It's only about 18 minutes long. I think I'm going to try to get episodes to be about 25 ish minutes, give or take a couple minutes here or there. Kind of the way I play the game, and kind of once I get into kind of doing the uh, more consistent kind of editing and everything, I play about an hour a day, and so it's about 3 4 hours worth of footage goes in every episode, and then spend a day or so editing and whatever. And so that should give us about 25-minute episodes. But for right now, we're going to have a little bit of a shorter episode today. We're going to spend just the first couple minutes here putting some finishing touches on our entry building that we were working on at the end of last episode. And then we're going to head outside the park and do our parking lot, our toll booths. We do have a walkthrough of the park that we are going to do at the end of the episode. So make sure to stay tuned for that. We'll kind of show the perspective of coming through our toll plaza, up through the ticketing area, and then into our entry plaza, which I do think is coming out very well, um, especially for kind of what was in the game at the time, but just does look very well. So as we wrap this up and we kind of start to move to the parking lot and everything, just remember it's not great. It's probably one of the worst designs areas I've ever done. It's cheap, parking lots are cheap, and in the grand scheme of things, we are operating with a budget in this park, and so we want to make sure our money and our resources are going towards the park and making sure the park is profitable. It's a good experience for guests, and so that just means right now, um, parking lot's not a priority. I think eventually it'll be redone. Actually, I don't think. I know eventually it'll be redone. Whether or not we do that before or after we um, we build the dry park, I don't know, but it will eventually be redone. Um, I will say, you just saw me try to delete those kind of paths that came with it. That was so annoying, not being able to delete those. And I know that it's changed. I don't think I've gone back within this park to delete those. And I actually don't know. I know some things really early on, as they were editing and updating those, you could do it, but it had to be within a new save file in a new park. Um, and so we um, we don't have uh, that kind of straight out that I wanted to way to kind of drag it out here a little bit, which is fine. The traffic flow is not great because you've got the buses with the loading zones and the park exit that kind of goes through them, which is definitely a safety hazard. Um, but that's kind of how it is. I tried to have it set up where we had a bus parking area and a general parking area, um, with the bus parking kind of being near the entrance. It worked out well. Uh, I see as I'm putting this in a lot of asphalt, a lot of concrete, and that's expensive. I know there's not a price tag on that in the game, which I kind of tell you. One of the gripes I do have with this game is I wish pathing cost money. I really do. Um, in real life, that's one of your more expensive aspects of any project, and so I wish it did have that in here. But we try to kind of build kind of these separate areas, um, with the exit road going through, eh, um, We are going to put some foliage in, which will make it a little bit better. Um, and our crosswalks just add a little bit. We use the wood planks to kind of draw spots. There's not really cars in the game, so that's not, you know, great. It's gonna just kind of be a blank parking lot, but you know, for right now it works. That area where we just kind of built those right there, you kind of see the green areas. I don't have anything in there yet. I'm gonna put, I think, some planters. I've talked about before wanting to come back and put metal detectors in to this area, and that actually to me feels like the right place to put them. So I'm thinking I'm gonna come back in, put some metal detectors right there, which I might actually have to get rid of the first row of parking, and then some planters to kind of add some protection in there as well. Um, but it's the parking lot. It's basic. We'll put some foliage, I believe, in this episode. Maybe not. We'll put some foliage along kind of the park entrance, kind of going to the employee lot, or what I should say, what eventually will become the employee lot. And then kind of some bollards and stuff around here for safety. The biggest gripe that I do have with the parking lot, other than I honestly just hate it, and watching this episode now as I record the audio for it, is just reminding me how much I hate it, and how uninspired I was building it. But there's kind of those big areas. You got the pathway going to the bus area. That's the words I'm looking for. Going to the busing area, and then just kind of the big green. I put some palm trees in, but it just feels forced. It doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel full of foliage and life, like it should. And I actually think parking lots are an incredibly underrated aspect of a park. And the reason being is it really is your first impression, right? So as you know, turn off the highway, turn down the causeway or entry road or whatever it is, you first thing you see, right? You might see kind of the skyline of the park in the background, but the first thing you're really gonna see up close is your parking lot and your toll booths. And so I think it's one of those things where you want to have really an iconic toll booth, a really nice looking toll booth, and then the parking lot shouldn't just be, and I say this as I did the exact opposite, but it shouldn't really just be this barren wasteland with light poles, which, I mean, our parking lot doesn't even have light poles, but it should have some life, it should have some growth, it should have different areas. I think that's also incredibly important, right? Allow you to park different areas. I think Disney does this with the trams. Busch Gardens does this, right, with their different lots. I think that's a really good parking lot, because it also, I think, um, just from a guest perspective, is a little bit nicer, and it has the added bonus of, I think, helping with traffic flow at the end of the night, and kind of getting people out, because you can kind of have different exit areas that kind of flow into an exit. So for example, kind of thinking on this, right, as I'm talking about this, you could have 4 lots, and each lot has its own exit out of the lot, obviously, and then you could have a 4-lane road, and each lot feeds into one lane, which would flow so much better than some of these parks that have just one massive parking lot, and then maybe they have one exit on either side that's a 2-lane road, and the entire lot's flowing into it, and it just becomes a jumbled mess. And so right now we have this, but I've talked about I want to redo this, and I've already kind of got some thoughts in mind. I probably won't touch it until we do the dry park, just because I think the thoughts I have in mind are more conducive to the dry park model, but it'll kind of have that feel when we come back and redo it. And I actually have kind of sketched out already what that parking lot could look like. and how it could flow into a dry park entrance with the water park entrance, um, and whatnot. So the parking booth now, which we're gonna start on, fine. Um, I ended up eventually I'll put some screens on the roof part when we get to that. That's the best part of this build in my mind. We added some varying height to it so that your buses could come through um, and head to the bus parking area, which you can see we're doing that now. Um, Kind of a cool look, especially with the phased slope there. Kind of start gradual, get a little more intense, but it's not great. Um, the screens really are the best part. And in real life, kind of the thought would be those would advertise, um, you know, upcoming events for the day, priority parking areas, something that I've always thought parks should do. And I think you're actually starting to see a little bit of this. I think actually when I was at Cedar Point the other day, and I know I said that in an earlier video, I haven't been multiple times this year. I've been once, but I'm recording the first 7 or 8 episodes kind of all in one sitting. So it's still the same time as it was when I recorded the first episode. But I think they actually had this, but that is pass holder only entrances, and pass holder only uh, parking booths. And I think it was with the Prestige Pass, which is kind of the Six Flags, the new Legacy, or not Legacy, but the new chain, kind of their top pass option. Um, and so that's kind of my thought as to what would be on here is, one would say this is for buses, this is for general admission, this is for, our pass holders, and all that. And then we are going to add a little bit of and this is kind of the last thing we'll do here before the walkthrough, but this is your actual kind of entry point into the area and kind of your entry road, and we'll have some lanes in. Again, fine. I don't think it's anything to write home about. It's anything special. I didn't want to go too far over because I just didn't really know what all to put through, and I didn't do this ever with my Planet Coaster One parks. So having kind of toll plazas and everything, this is really my first go at it. I'm sure I'll get better at it, and we'll come back to it and we'll redo it when we do the dry park and have a better, more realistic, but also just cleaner looking drive up to it at a future time. So yeah, that's that. If you have suggestions as to how to kind of make this area better, please, 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 please let me know. Not great with toll plazas. Not great with it. I think in my head, I have an idea of how to do it, but I just not great at just getting that out onto paper. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up here, and then I'll come back here in about a minute when we get to our walkthrough. Kind of go through that, and then that's all we've got. So yeah, enjoy the last kind of minute here of us kind of working on our parking lot. Criticize me in the comments of all the things that need changed, because it is a plenty, and we'll be back here in just a minute. Alright, we are back, and Last thing we're going to do today, we are going to do a little walkthrough of our park. So here we are, we're arriving. It's going to be a great day at the water park. Woohoo, no lighting, really bad entry plaza. Um, Again, I talked about this earlier. This is just really barren over here. So I need to add some stuff, which I'll go back and do. Here's our parking lot. I will say, seeing this now, I really wish we could get rid of the power logos um, in walkthrough mode. I don't need to see those from so far away, blocking so much of the park as we kind of try to get perspective. But there we go, through what will be the metal detectors into kind of our entry plaza, our bathroom, which I think that building just came out wonderful. I think it looks great. Um, and into the park, I really love those posters on the side. Man, those look fantastic there. So we'll go ahead and finish this up, kind of go through here real quick so you guys can see the rest. In the end, tomorrow we will release episode 5. It's hard to believe, but probably about a third of the way done at this point with our daily releases as we kind of catch up on the game and the content. It's going to be a big episode for us. We are starting our first themed area. I talked about at the beginning of this, we're going to have 4 themed areas. So this will be the first of those areas. And of course, we will be working on our first water slides and pool, because this is a water park, planet coaster, coaster theme park game, and not a buildings and entry plaza games. And as much as I love having these kind of money-making stores and guest services, right there we go. We do need water slides and we do need pools to be successful and make money. So we'll work on those. So I'm super excited for that. In the meantime, leave a comment on what you think of everything so far. If you've watched all 4 episodes and you haven't liked or subscribed yet, what are you doing? I mean, come on. You've liked 4 of these videos so far. You're probably going to like more. So go ahead, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and enjoy the last few seconds here as we kind of go through the back area here. And we will see you tomorrow.